even months before, when there's negotiations between Japan and America to get rid of the embargo, it's striking to me how much miscommunication and the ability for both sides to just understand that there was a compromise here was such a big factor here. Where I feel like if Prince Kenoi and FDR could get on like a Zoom call, I feel like the war.
You're an optimist. Think about, let's talk about sunk costs. And I'm going to talk about sunk casualties. By the time you're there, the Japanese have suffered 600,000 casualties in China. There is no easy out of that one. And so the United States' minimum program is you get out of China. Not happening if you're Japanese. You look at the government. The government's definitely on death ground with that one because there's no way they stay in power if they get out of China. And particularly, this is why Hirohito is Mr. Silent for most of the war. Initially, he's all for it until it goes sour, and then he's less so. Is he knows that he'll be, if not assassinated, declared insane, and then his perfectly serviceable adolescent son, or however old his son was, would be the token emperor. So I don't think, and no matter, the Zoom call is not going to change the fundamentally high stakes that are involved for both sides.
You really think if Hirohito had like stepped in and been like, "No, we're not doing this," that he would have been usurped as emperor?
Yeah, early on. Oh, and there's another piece. Let's look at the United States in 1941. Great Depression, isolationists. This is where the first America Firsters are. They're the ones who created the idea. They didn't want to know about all these foreign places. The totally isolationists. Hawaii wasn't even a state, doesn't become a state until 1959. If you're Japanese, you look at a place, oh, it's a colony. So it'll be like sort of the dog that barks. You take a newspaper and thwap him a few times, and maybe the dog will start barking. Because what the Japanese want is the United States just mind his own business. Stay out of Asia. It's our backyard. It's not your backyard. And looks at the United States. The United States doesn't have that much trade with Asia compared to the rest of the world. Sure, it sells Japan most of its oil, but that's not most of U.S. trade.
I was reading about this before preparing to interview you, and the particular cases where diplomacy broke down. So there's examples where the translators between Japan and America are, and I can't believe this is true. You can tell me if this is not, but they're exaggerating what each side is saying to make them more vivid to read. Like, if Tojo says something conciliatory, it's exaggerated to make it sound, and that's like obviously not the role of a diplomatic translator. And there's many cases where after the war, Tojo says, if we had gotten the modus vivendi that FDR apparently was contemplating sending to us, if we saw those agreements, we would have agreed. Or apparently they misunderstood the final agreement they got from Secretary of State Hull, where it said that you must return China. They thought it included Manchuria. Hull didn't intend it to include Manchuria. They might have said yes to that. It seems like the war really could have been averted if like a couple of mistranslations were avoided.
Okay, I wouldn't take Tojo as my source for anything. He's a guy who he was before a graduating class of cadets or something. He was talking about how even people had said that he was mediocre, but look where he'd risen to be, and he's this great man. And then at the end, when he's supposed to commit suicide, well, the way you do it is I've described. And he's an army officer. So what does he do? He takes a gun and he shoots himself. I mean, point blank range with a gun. How hard can it be? And he survives that one, and we glue him back together. So here's the honorable samurai who sent so many children or young people to their deaths. And at the end, when he knows full well what he's supposed to be doing, can't do it. So I wouldn't take him as my source. Also, at the end, he's got this whiny answer of, oh, it wasn't my fault. It's all your translators. And the piece on Manchuria, no, I don't know that would have been a compromise, because the League of Nations had sent in something called the Lytton Commission, which had told the Japanese they had to get out. And oh, by the way, it is a fiction that Manchuria is not a part of China. It is an integral part of China, has been for the longest time. What the Japanese did is they kidnapped the last Qing emperor, Manchuria, whose ancestors came from Manchuria, popped him in, Henry Puyi, made him the emperor to try to come up with this fiction that, oh, Manchuria is a separate place. Excuse me, it's not. It's part of China. It's the internationally recognized territory of China.